Hi guys. Sorry. Trying to get situated. See, I hate that. Driving me crazy. Almost as much as the unfocusing and the wiggly camera. Stop it. Today's Friday. I kind of forgot that today was Friday. It's hard to keep track when you don't have like a normal like routine. You know, I don't have a reason to get up and go every day. I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have anywhere to be. But anyway, it's Friday, which is cool because tonight is my boyfriend's last night of the week to work. We get the weekend to do whatever. I don't know. Oh wait, he's gonna work this weekend. Never mind. Boo. He usually gets Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. But the only day he's getting off this week is Saturday. So, boo. I don't like that. But, unfortunately, we need the money. And that's my fault. But, not today, but this week is just kind of a rough week. Especially when, it's just, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. But, I'm still here. Yeah. I thought today we'd talk about, bullying, I think. Everybody's been bullied. At least once in their life. Unfortunately, some of us were bullied a little bit more than others. I would be one of those people, I think. I don't know. But what's sad? Yes, I was bullied by the children in school. That's typical, normal. Bullied by the children in the neighborhood, But what's sad is the adults. And I have a hard time not accepting it, but, yeah, I guess accepting is a good word, that I had teachers who were bullies. Really bad bullies. I know I had a third grade teacher that was horrible. Just absolutely horrible. She called me out in class. She put me down. She was sure to tell me, how lazy I was. How old are third graders? 8, maybe? 7 or 8? And, yeah, I struggled a lot that year. That year was, I remember that year was when they started the multiplication tables. Nope. Not even to this day. This day, I don't know them. Yeah, I cannot do it in my head. I cannot memorize them. They don't stick. I think maybe at the time in school, I might have been able to memorize them long enough for a test. But the minute I was finished with that test, that information just fell out of my head. And that's the kind of information that is basic, math is just not a good subject for me. But yeah, I had teachers that weren't really bullies, but they weren't really great teachers either. They were just kind of, I guess, mediocre teachers. Maybe they were teachers who were tired of teaching. I don't know. But the last teacher I had that bullied was freshman in high school. That was a bad year too. My grandmother died that year, and I had this teacher, this science teacher, who, by the way, I do not remember his name. I don't really care to remember his name, but I do remember him. He's probably not still alive today. He was an elderly gentleman, not elderly, but maybe in his 60s, 50s or 60s. I don't know. He had a tic. He had a shoulder tic, which, I mean, whatever. That's just something I remember about him. I can't even really remember his face anymore. But I do remember how I felt in that class, and it wasn't good. You know, being in the school system, public school system, it seemed like they were trying to get better. The older I got, the longer I'd been in school. But it seemed like I was just behind any kind of change that happened. You know, they try to make a alteration to like the learning curriculum or whatever. You know, when you're dyslexic or when you have any kind of learning disability, or, you know, they would give you extra time on tests. I know I had a 4th grade teacher that would allow another student to read the test to me, basically ask me the questions so that I could answer the questions. That worked really well for me. That little girl ended up being my best friend for a long time. She was very smart, and but this particular teacher would not allow me to take advantage of any kind of resource that the school had. Sorry. I don't know why. I guess he was one of the people that felt like I was just being lazy, and that I didn't try hard enough, or I didn't work hard enough, or, you know, he was just of that opinion. And I remember this was a science class. It wasn't a chemistry class. It wasn't a biology class. It wasn't like really supposed to be a really, I'll say, in-depth science. I mean, most of the time I loved science, but not this year. This year was horrible. He would put these equations on the board, on the big whiteboard, and he would just say, do it. He wouldn't even tell us what it was, how to do it. He would just put it up on the board and say, you know, we all had a notebook, or like a spiral, that we were supposed to do these problems in. And I remember one particular day, he was walking the room, and my desk was like the very last desk on the other side of the room, on the front of the room. And the way he worked himself around, I was the last stop. And, of course, there was nothing in my notebook, because he didn't teach me how to do it. How did he expect me to do something that looked completely foreign to me, that was like reading a foreign language? I had no clue what it was or how to do it. And I remember one day he walked by, and he saw my notebook was empty, and he said, you know, if you can't do this, you're not ever going to amount to anything. Needless to say, I was very upset by that. I called my mother from school, which I didn't do ever, and I basically said, I quit. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not You know, you either get me out of here and find me somewhere else to go, or that's it, I quit. I'm not, yeah. I had reached I had finally reached the end of my rope, you know? I mean, something that started literally from the very first moment I stepped into a school. I mean, they wanted to hold me back in kindergarten, you know? I mean, it's just, it was never good for me. And I struggled from the moment I started school. I struggled all the way through. And I was done. 9 years, 10 years, I guess, at that point. That was it. That was all I had in me. And I think just the fact that my grandmother had died that year was just kind of compounding everything. Just finally, I think I just kind of snapped and like, nope. But you know what? She did. She did get me out of there. She put me in a private school that basically catered around kids with learning disabilities. I may have talked about all of this before. I don't remember. I can't remember yesterday. So if I'm repeating a story or if I'm repeating myself, you know, if you already heard it, skip this one and move on. But, yeah. She did. She got me to school in the middle of my freshman year. And I was in that school until I graduated. I graduated, you know, of course, my class was like, I think there were 10, maybe 10. So it was very small school, very small class. But you got one-on-one, you know, say attention, but you got one-on-one help. And they basically were people who understood dyslexia. There were people who understood ADHD. There were people who understood how to teach to kids that had, you know, these learning disabilities. And so, you know, I flourished. I did very well. I was second in my class, which doesn't really say much because there were only 10 of us, but it's still, I guess it's something, but yeah, it was good. It was a good time. It was probably the best time of my, I say childhood or my adolescence. I had more friends the latter half of my high school than I did my whole school experience. I mean, I was more social. I felt more confident. I felt like I wasn't the one that was standing out. You know, I was the big fish in the little pond. You know. And instead of the little fish in the big pond. So, yeah, nobody bullied me there. The ratio of boys to girls in this school, though, much higher for boys than it was for girls. I mean, there were other girls in the school, but I think in my class there were just 3. Me and 2 other girls. Richa. 4 girls. And then 5 boys. So, well, it wasn't a bad thing. But, you know, they sent a new girl into the school, and I was kind of like fresh meat to these boys. And they were all very sweet boys, you know. Some of them were a little bit more aggressive, I guess not aggressive like mean, but, you know, confident, I guess you could say. And I was always very shy, so I wasn't used to that type of, you know, attention. So, yep, I guess that's it for today. I'll keep it shorter today, because, you know, just me rambling on. Like I say, nobody wants to hear it. But I'll see you again someday.